wouldn't completely change where you're aiming. I'd be next to impossible. It'd be next to impossible to make the precise adjustments needed. Slow things down to reasonable activity, sure. Crosshair, but at least you'll land a shot. And that's the general idea behind lower sensitivity. You know, I get that some that manage to do exceptionally well for themselves. But even when you look at their gameplay, their biggest downfall seems to be their aim. So, how should you set things up? For keyboard and mouse players, your X and Y sensitivities are going to mainly affect your hip fire and flick, your building, and your editing. So you need to arrive at values that are comfortable doing all these things. Mostly building and editing. Spend time in creative and just see how this ends while still performing every move you know comfortably. Like, if you can't build a box around yourself with a single split movement, that means your sense is too low. And if one swipe of your around 3 times, then wow, my friends, that's a little bit too high. Finding the middle ground here, guys, is ideally use your wrist to aim. Your sensitivity is probably too high. You know, plenty of players. And if it works, alright, well, more power. Based on how the vast majority of pros play, arm aiming is where it's at, my friend. You should only be using your wrist for micro adjustments. I guess you're excused if you have a really small mouse pad. You're better off buying a large gaming mouse pad so you can start using your for controller players. You guys have things like building and editing, sensitivities that can always be changed afterwards. So, your horizontal and vertical look sensitivities are more for hip fire tracking and flick shots. Here, you want to arrive at values that feel enjoyable to use while hip firing with SMGs and rifles, and flicking your shotguns. Then, up the editing and building sensitivity multipliers to find the right speed to edit smoothly. So, once you're confident with your horizontal and vertical values, you know, it's time to change your targeting sensitivity. Now, there isn't a correct answer here, okay? Usually on preference, but just like before, something lower than the default is typically better. Between 30 and 70% is what we usually see. And if you're on controller, we see that even go lower, between 10 to 20%. You know, it's a lot of variation there, I get it. But as long as you experiment, you're going to find a value that's fair. Alright, so what about slow sensitivity? Sorry to you guys. I really apologize for that, I really do. Hopefully, they got you right up in the future. But there's not slightly higher than your targeting sense. Why? So, because you can present close medium ranges. If you're so plenty of trouble sniping players close by, then you're never going to be able to those nasty quick scope flicks you do all the time. Something just a bit higher than your targeting sense is a decent place to start. Ultimately, it's just your decision what sensitivity you choose. But give us some thought, spend time in creative maps, and don't feel afraid to make adjustments to something so far. And if you're trying to target, we're going to leave a couple of sensitivity videos you can check out in the description below. You always hear about tracking and flicking, the two distinct styles of aim. But what makes someone like a tracking legend? And how do you make sure your flicks pack a bigger punch? Since tracking is all about keeping your crosshair from a moving target, it's intuitive like around, and the trajectory follows after a jump. If you know this isn't something you should consciously be thinking about, though. You know what I mean? It should be more, you know, instinctive. Something that your brain sort of does on its own after just a lot of practice. Of course, you know, you can practice just by playing the game. But to train more efficiently, and to the next level, come on now, you should hit up some creative maps. And the favorite of all, this level has a ton of unique courses you can use to work on your crosshair movements and as a way to get used to sensitivity changes. Under the tracking section, the best course is Alternating Ranges Long Straight Zombie Tracking. Man, that was a lot to say. Anyway, just walk in and shoot the difficult you want on the left. Then simply fire at the zombie, being sure to keep your crosshairs stuck on them as much as possible. But the issue with this map, and a lot of aim maps in general to be honest, is that the zombies don't mimic realistic player movement. Actual players have different movement patterns, unpredictable changes that require quick reaction. So to train for that, we recommend with this map, you and a friend, pick a weapon, walk up to the dueling pit, and just drop down with the floor edit. Once you touch the ground, you start blasting. Each player has 2,000 HP, so there's a long training session. Pick the SMG to practice your tracking, but you can also use a shotgun to work on flicks. Speaking of flick shots, just a brief reminder, those are when you utilize muscle memory to rapidly move your crosshair over the enemy for a quick shot. Easy enough, right? Still, there are a couple of mistakes players always make when going aiming down sights before a shotgun blast. Now, you don't do this in every single scenario. For instance, if you're literally barrel stuffing your opponent, you're running different in your shotgun damage, but beyond those extremely close distances, you gain a significant amount of extra damage by aiming down sights. If you're on a controller, the aim assist you get while ADSing helps out a bunch. For how little effort it takes, you've got to be aiming down sights with every flick shot you can. The second mistake is firing as soon as you flick. Alright, let's just face it, alright? Most of us don't have perfect muscle memory. We don't always end up with our crosshair right on our opponent's head every flick. Sometimes it ends up going too slightly to the side, past their head, or you end up doing a little nothing with your shot. Instead of just trusting every flick, like it'll land exactly where you want, it's often helpful to confirm your target before firing. It's sort of like doing 2 flicks for each shot. One large one, get your crosshair close to the enemy, then a second one that adjusts to their head. To do. And in some cases, can be the difference between you landing a meaty pump shot or dealing a meaty. The better you get with flicking, the less often you're going to have. But it still helps with landing some of the harder shots. So the 2 creative maps we just showed you are great for training and warming up your flicks. But another favorite of ours is the one you can see on your screen right now, created by Machine Head. It's literally just you against another player. All the different angles and an excellent job simulating the shots you'll have to take in real engagements. Just remember to work on the 2 mistakes we talked about. Sights and go for the head. I thought at this time that works in this game, alright? And I think it's very vital to understand how to improve your aim. A lot of newer players think that boom is entirely random. Equal chance that the bullet will go somewhere in the general area of your crosshair while spraying a weapon. But how it works, guys, is that bullets always tend toward the center dot. Even with the full-on spray, if you get that dot, you got a shot of hitting them. This may seem like, Keith Allen already knows this. But trust us, alright? We see players complain about bloom all the time. So their crosshair dot is way off of their opponent. So what I'm really trying to say is that don't just spray and just sort of put your reticle in their general direction. If you want your shots to connect as much as possible, you should hard focus on placing that dot on your target. Believe me, believe Keith Allen, alright? I'm your motivation guy. It can make a gigantic difference. To close things out, we've got a concept that you need to know about called crosshair placement. The idea here is that you should always keep your crosshair in a spot that minimizes the distance it needs to travel. For example, alright, let's just say that you're fighting a player inside of a building. If you walked around with no regard for crosshair placement, you'd probably be aiming at the floor. Then once the enemy came into view, you would scramble to place your crosshair on them. The chance of missing your shot this way is very high. But if you kept it leveled at head height, pointed near corners where the enemy might pop out of, you might not need to move your crosshair at all. They can literally just walk right into it, and all you have to do is click. I don't know about you, but it sounds like an easy kill for me. And that's the power of proper crosshair placement. Now, in Fortnite, there are going to be times where, you're going to have to ignore crosshair placement because, building an edit. There are situations where it comes to hand. Like before confirming an edit, a common trick people do while editing walls is to the crosshair on the enemy before confirming it open. So you can just shoot for the kill. You won't have to go for a wild flick that might miss. Ensure that you actually looking your shot. So while crosshair placement isn't super instrumental or anything like that, is lower better? Yes. Yes again. For aiming at least. But you still need to find a balance if you want to build and edit smoothly, okay? Luckily, there are building and editing sensitivities for controllers, and there are sensitivities all of us can set to truly hone in on our aim. Tracking, it's a smart idea to mix regular aim training with 1v1 duel. Most players move unpredictably, and you've got to know how to react to their movement if you want to have excellent tracking ability. So spend as much time as you can in aim training, okay? Because practice is the most crucial part of getting better. The map codes we talked about are in the description below. Before shooting, and don't always trust your flicking abilities, alright? Some angles in this game are pretty hard to accurately flick. Before performing the shot. It isn't as random as you think. The bullets mostly go towards the dive. If you want to land, and with proper crosshair placement, you can win fights without even having to flick or do anything. Or head level, and where you would expect players to peak. Alright guys, this is your motivation guide. That's right, your friend, the one and only Keith Allen. Make sure to connect with me on my new Insta at your motivation guide. Remember that you're leaders. Remember that you're positive to lift people up, alright? Subscribe and hit that bell to get notified for all of our upcoming. Make sure to leave which weapons you with the most. And if you'd like to support us even more, you can do that by using guys in the See you again. What's going on, gamers? Welcome back to another Pro Guys video. You know, we know late game in Fortnite, especially in high-level sprint lobbies, can be like super difficult, and one tiny mistake can often result in a loss for you. And since we've done a guide on early game and another guide on mid-game, and we finish up the series guide to late game. So today we're going to be doing the ultimate guide to late game. Yeah, this not only get more games, here with some overall points in the process. We're going to start by giving you guys a few general tips for some more specific tips. But real quick, I got a question for you. Are you looking to get better at Fortnite? I believe the answer is yes, that's why you're here. If you are, well, make your way over to ProGuys.com, where we have exclusive courses along with meta articles and videos to keep you guys updated on what's happening in the Fortnite scene. On top of all of that awesome stuff, we also got 24/7 on-demand coaching from some of the top players in the world. So if you want any of this awesome stuff, then head on over to our website. Finally, the last thing before we get started, let's do the question of the day. You guys ready? Let's do this. Today's question is, who do you think is the